At the very heart of the maze, where all paths fold inward like ribs around a hidden heart, there stands a chamber of vaulted gold and shadow. Within that chamber, beneath an arch carved with the forgotten mathematics of the cosmos, sits Aurembraxis, lord of the central measure. The maze surrounds him. The Patchwork City surrounds the maze, and the world, whether it knows it or not, arranges itself around him still. Patchwork City was not built as other cities are built. It was assembled district by district, stone by stone, era stitched to era. A cathedral spire leans against a glass tower. Marketplaces are sewn into cloisters. Bridges tie themselves to rooftops like laces binding a boot. At its exact center, not measured by distance but by inevitability, rises the maze. No two who enter the maze walk the same path. The corridors shift subtly, as though remembering old grievances. Walls narrow for the proud, doors multiply for the uncertain. Some wander for hours, others for years, yet every path eventually bends toward the center, toward him. Aurembraxis is vast. His shoulders are draped in robes, the color of deep garnet and dusk fire, lined with fur taken from beasts no longer named. Gold thread maps constellations across his chest, while rings band his horns like coronets forged for a king who never required a crown. Before him rests the golden balance, its beam flawless, its chains untarnished. Upon its twin plates rest not mere weights but forces, suns and singularities, contracts and ambitions, vows and vanities. Aurembraxis does not measure coin alone. He measures equivalence. He measures will. He measures the unseen density of a soul. It is said that the golden balance was not forged but found, discovered at the beginning of time, already complete, already waiting for hands strong enough to lift it. Only Aurembraxis could. They come to him from distances that cannot be mapped. Merchants bearing locked chests, scholars with scrolls bound in silk, kings traveling in disguise, bankrupt dreamers carrying one last glittering heirloom sewn into a sleeve. All come seeking wholeness, for it is known across continents that Aurembraxis can rebalance a life. A failing venture can be restored. A fractured dynasty can be stabilized. A dwindling fortune can swell into surplus liquidity, so abundant it spills into generations yet unborn. But none come empty-handed. Only fools approach the central measure without an offering, for the maze whispers its warning. Nothing is weighed without counterweight. Nothing is granted without equivalence. When pilgrims reach the center, they find no crowd and no chaos, only stillness. Aurembraxis sits behind a circular table of carved stone, coins scattered like fallen sunlight across its surface. He does not rise when petitioners approach. He does not need to. They kneel. Each offering is placed upon the left plate of the golden balance. Gold bars, ledgers inked with promised futures, crown jewels, sealed agreements. Occasionally, something stranger, a name, a memory, an oath. Then Aurembraxis places upon the opposite plate a sphere of radiance drawn from the unseen reservoir of universal force. The plates tremble. Sometimes the offering rises too light, sometimes it sinks too heavy. When balance is achieved, the beam stills, and in that silence, destinies are rewritten. There are always those who believe themselves clever, those who offer gilded copper, those who conceal debt behind polished rhetoric, those who attempt to negotiate. Aurembraxis does not argue. He tilts the balance slightly, just enough. The chamber doors open, and the offender is cast back into the maze. But not as before. The paths tighten, corridors loop, staircases descend into identical rooms. Time thins, echoes replace memory. To be lost in the maze is not merely to wander, it is to become an unanswered equation. Many are still wandering. When the balance steadies, when offering meets worth, when ambition aligns with gravity, Aurembraxis inclines his great horned head. It is the smallest of gestures, yet in that moment markets turn, winds shift, investments flower, debts dissolve, and vaults fill beyond expectation. Those who leave his court do not merely recover, they thrive. Their ventures experience surplus liquidity, so profound it becomes generational current, capital flowing like a river that refuses drought. They find themselves whole not because they were gifted wealth, but because they were properly weighed and found substantial. It is whispered, though never confirmed, that Aurembraxis does not simply measure the universe, he stabilizes it. Somewhere beyond sight, beyond coin and contract, the golden balance counters forces far more volatile than mortal ambition. Should he ever remove his hands from the beam, the sun might tilt, the tides might surge, and the Patchwork City itself might unravel its stitches.